Hi, Joe. It's so nice to have you on the show. How are you doing today?
Yeah, doing well, Alicia. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Just
Beautiful.
happy to be here.
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, you honoring the invite means a whole lot. Thanks so much, man. Okay, so I am excited to have you on the show, Joe, for some reasons. All right. Number one, I believe that in order to get unstuck, leave a terrible situation, it takes the application of insight, knowledge. That's the first reason why I'm excited to have you on the show, because that leads me now to the second reason. I believe the ones who are going to be listening to our conversation, the audience, you know, there are some things that Joe knows that some of those folks needs to hear you say this stuff directly from your mouth in order to experience transformation. I firmly believe that. And thirdly, that is me. I believe there are some things that I'm going to learn from your insights, your story, your experiences. So for that reason, Joe, I want us to get started with your introduction, the challenges that you faced, and how you overcame them. Then afterwards, I've gotten some beautiful questions for you. Okay, Joe, over to you.
Great. Well, thank you so much. My name is Joe Jacobson. I am from Portland, Oregon, and my story has a lot to do with addiction. I started drinking in high school and had just a really good, really normal upbringing, not a lot of trauma. And in fact, kind of on the opposite side, I was sheltered from a lot of trauma. So when it got to adulthood, I didn't have any coping mechanisms whatsoever for dealing with hardships. So I would fall back on drinking and just ceased growing from about 20 to about 35 years old. And through those party years, essentially, more drug use kind of uh, came hand in hand. So whether it was cocaine a lot of the time or party drugs, and then eventually, I mean, especially because I had been diagnosed with ADD as a kid, and I was on Adderall. That when I started doing methamphetamine, I was like, "Oh, this reminds me of Adderall." So I didn't have a lot of those really, negative kind of built-in aversions to it that a lot of us do, where they're like, we would never do meth. It reminded me of doing Adderall my whole life. So I told myself it was helping me in some way, and in a couple ways it would. If you have a hard time focusing on stuff, and then now you can focus on it for 16 hours at a time, like it's easy to say, "Oh, this is helping me," but it's not helping you, obviously. um, and so, I'm 35 years old. I just found myself an alcoholic and drug addict, and I knew I was a lot better than that. I had been knowing I was essentially masking my pain for a long time, and I kind of knew because I thought about life a lot that one of the only points to it would be to overcome your fears and all of the built-in things that are really, you know, plaguing you. Like for me, it would be insecurities I didn't deal with as a child, or like inferiority complexes, or various things like that. I just knew, like, okay, the point must be to overcome these. Like, otherwise, what's the point in life? Like, is the point to just be scared the whole time and comfortable? And but it took a long time to get clean and sober, even after those insights, because they wreak havoc on your limbic system, your reward system and stuff. And so, anytime I tried to stop, it was just like such severe depression that it was almost not even worth getting better, because I was closer to suicide than I was to actually healing. So, what I did is I found the path essentially in just five daily habits that are non-negotiable, and if I do these on a day in day out basis, that it completely changes my brain chemistry, raises my frequency, and I can actually overcome things in a really positive, really quick way. So, for instance, my 5 daily habits are early wake up. I wake up at 3:30 a.m. every day. I built up to that. I would start at 4, and then I even went to 3 a.m. at certain points just to kind of shock my system. But I wake up at 3:30 a.m. every day. I do weight training 6 days a week. I exercise 7 days a week because I'll start to feel bad on that seventh day if I don't. But so early wake up, weight training. I read, at least 10 minutes of personal development material each day. I track my macronutrients, which are proteins, fats, and carbs, and overall calories. And then obviously drop all vices. And if you just do those 5 daily habits every single day, non negotiably, you'll literally be able to achieve any of your goals in life because you'll just follow the steps that it takes to get somewhere, and you won't worry about the time it's taking because you validate yourself on a daily basis through your habits, not by some goal that you're eventually going to achieve. I don't need to become successful because I'm successful day in, day out based on my daily habits. And I found that
Beautiful.
that really works for me because the gym released so many endorphins and other, feel good chemicals that I was able to overcome drug withdrawal, and essentially become a normal person in a very short amount of time.
Beautiful. You know, that's a very inspiring one. You mentioned some very important words like overcome, insight, and the last one you mentioned that caught my attention, daily habit.
Mm-hmm.
It shows how much you invested in becoming a better person. So that makes you um, a very good person to listen to in order to get over addiction. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why I said earlier that I'm excited to have you on the show because I believe folks who are currently in the situation you left will find you very interesting to listen to because you can relate so well with them. Okay, so shall we get started with the questions, Joe?
Absolutely.
Okay, so now let us talk about that part where you said that you the daily habits are non-negotiable. Now that's discipline, right? Discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Exactly.
how can one build such discipline that you even mentioned that whenever you do not work out or lift weight on the seventh day, you feel bad. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so how can one build such discipline? You stick to that daily habit and you wouldn't even want to stop doing it. Can you talk to us about building daily habit discipline rather?
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's going to be hard to just flip a switch completely. And that's not really the way habits are formed. So I built up to this to really having dialed in all 5 daily habits over a few months. I mean, you can still dial in the macronutrients better. So it's always a process. But a couple of the ones that I would focus on at first are going to be the early wake up and the gym. So the early wake up, if you start negotiating with yourself on when you get out of bed, and let's say you want to get out of bed at 4 a.m. and you keep negotiating to 5 and then 6:30, I mean, you're just going to negotiate with yourself on every single thing throughout that day. And you might as well just throw the gym out the window. You might as well throw stopping drinking out the window. So I started with the early wake up that I was holding myself to, and the gym. And during that time, like I'd gotten off drugs at first, but I was still drinking, and I was fine with that because I wasn't, perfection is the lowest standard of excellence. So, um, it's important to just build your way up to various, yeah, higher standards. So, um, I was waking up, but I was still drinking. So I would drink till midnight and then still wake up at 4, be in the gym, and I was like, man, okay, I think I'm losing interest in drinking. Um, and so then that kind of slipped away. And when it comes to like macronutrients, like I was doing them wrong for a couple months because I started out, with methamphetamine, for instance, you lose a lot of weight. So I thought I was actually supposed to gain weight back, and that was not the case. I was trying to lose body fat. So I was doing it wrong for, the first couple months, and that's okay because now I'm dialed in more on that. So you want to build up to these things, but then you said something like stopping becomes way harder than starting ever was because you're just on such a roll on a daily basis. And when life starts throwing things at you, you're just like able to overcome them because you're self-imposing suffering on yourself. So like my car got broken down and then stolen a couple weeks ago, and I'm just like, okay, well, I guess I don't have a car. But that didn't change my habits. Like I'm still going to wake up early. I'm still going to go to the gym. I'm still going to eat healthy and track what I'm eating. So if life doesn't change what you're doing, then it definitely loses its power for sure. Like all the negative things that can happen. If you're actually like dialed in on your habits, then everything else becomes less painful because you're imposing self suffering upon yourself every day.
Beautiful. I got that. I got that. Okay, we have two more questions to go. Can you talk to us about how to deal with anxiety and depression?
Absolutely. So anxiety and depression is a byproduct of not doing the work. So your conscience is telling all of us things, and it's called conscience congruency when you're operating in alignment with your conscience. And every single time that you ignore your conscience, it's going to nag at you. So I suffered from anxiety and depression. I've been diagnosed with anxiety, general anxiety disorder, and depression. I've been to two different mental institutions for depression, and I no longer have anxiety and depression because I'm working out the things that are bothering me, and also have built up so much confidence through my habits um, that the make believe scenarios in my head that cause a lot of anxiety just don't exist as much or don't go the way they used to. I used to think that everyone was calling me, let's say, just a piece of crap, and that's just like me calling myself a piece of crap. So, um, or there's a really great quote where it's like, anxiety is your brain's way of saying everyone hates you, but not as much as me. And it's true. I mean, but if you just start existing within what your conscience is trying to tell you, all anxiety and depression goes away. Um, at least from the general standpoint. I can't really speak for. I have no idea how messed up a brain can be, with like really bad depressive disorders. So I don't really know if like a ton about that because I'm not a doctor. But just for the general one, we all have anxiety and depression. That's just from not doing the work. So if you do these five daily habits and wake up early and go to the gym and eat healthy, your anxiety and depression will go away 100%. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. I got that. That was well explained. You made it quite easy to
Thank you.
understand. I love that.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, we got one more to go. Okay, so now there are some folks who are struggling with negative mindset now. They find
Hmm.
it so hard to think positive. Okay, now what advice or how do you think they can transition to a positive mindset? Overcoming this negative mindset. What can you say
Hmm.
about that? Hmm.
Yeah, so again, that's going to be the same answer in terms of doing the work, but that negative mindset is actually really important to start with. So if life is happening around you and not going your way, and you're just automatically in this really weird positive way, and that's like almost like psychopathy, like where you don't care, where you don't have a negative, or you don't actually have an emotional response to something, like that just isn't really human. So the victim mentality is actually a healthy beginning because that means you're having an emotional response. And then to overcome those and to have a more positive mindset is going to come from doing the work, and building discipline. And because self-esteem is built by by discipline. And when you have more confidence, you're going to view challenges in more of a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. So a fixed mindset is kind of stuck in the pattern of, oh, this failure that I just had now defines me. So if I fail to go to the gym today, I guess that means I just don't work out. I guess it's just not for me. Or it could be a if you don't pass a test at class in school or something, where you're like, oh, I'm a failure. It's like, no, you're not yet where you could be. And so the growth mindset is just understanding that everything's a process and not needing to be perfect. And so when you implement more and more of the growth mindset because of your daily habits, you will automatically catch yourself in a fixed mindset, like, oh, why is this happening to me? And then you'll remember, oh, wait, like, I like challenges because they are fortifying my mind. And you'll start to realize, like, how much of becoming successful and a higher level person is being able to overcome challenges and not looking at them like something's happening to you. They're happening for you, because the whole point of life is to master yourself. And how are you going to master anything if you don't have to go through anything? So just recognize that the negative mindset is healthy. It's like, it means you're alive. But the more work you do on a daily basis, the more essentially the quicker you'll catch it, and be um, like just a really quick switch. I think it's called well, I mean, course correction for sure. But yeah, you'll so there, and then you don't have to look at, um, you just, yeah, won't stay looking at things as negatively. And then another big thing is, like, the world is not, it is as you are. Like, life is a mirror, not a window. So if you start developing yourself and work on your daily habits and become just an extremely positive person, you're going to see more of the positive stuff in the world. And then you're also going to bring about a lot of that as well, because you'll influence your immediate circle. You'll raise the collective consciousness of your direct circle, and those people will become more positive as well. And so, but yeah, just essentially growth. I would say growth mindset is the most important thing, because even if you're starting from a really negative place, just know that that's okay. And we all have gone through a lot of stuff. So it makes sense that would start from a victim mentality, but that can be overcome, and that is overcome just by working on yourself. And if you do these 5 daily habits, it's the easiest way. You don't have to read a bunch of books to, you know, outthink the devil, essentially. You'll just come from just, yeah, keep it simple.
Beautiful. You know, okay, let me quote you. Okay, let me just paraphrase, all right? In order to
Mm-hmm.
master something, you have to go through it. Joy
Mm-hmm.
2024. I got that. Okay, man. All right, man. So it has been an interesting moment with you on the show, Joy. So to bring this to an end now, what would you like to leave the audience with, like a final thought, and to those ones who would like to reach out to you, learn more about what you do? You know, maybe
Mm-hmm.
you said something that resonated with them and they would like to learn more. How can that be
Yeah.
possible?
Yeah. So follow me on Instagram, reach out to me, DM me. My Instagram handle is Joe_Graham_program. So Joe Graham program. And I would say the main thing to take away would be the work is going to instill the worth. So the work instills the worth. If you're suffering from, like, low confidence, low self-esteem, all you have to do is these 5 daily habits, put in the work, and you're going to see yourself differently within just a matter of days.
Beautiful. So that's gonna be the end of the show, Joe. Thank you for coming and thank you for, impacting us with this amazing insight. It means a whole lot,
Yeah,
man. Thank you so much.
absolutely. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it.